Well, Mondo, in past years, we've seen some of the best football in the Valley from this, what we now call a sub-5A perspective. It used to be the 3As, right? I think we're going to have some good ball clubs. Port Isabel, first of all, is the team we're going to talk about. And that brings me to the HMK Bake Company. And I'd like to give them credit for helping us out with this segment, and we hope that they're a part of the family at 956 for many years. The Tarpons are known for their great fans and also for putting their money where their mouth is. Will they have a team worth fighting and yelling over this season?
You know, a lot of people say Port Isabel's maybe a year away.
Yeah.
You know, last year they were young, still playoff year.
Right.
You know, they lost the great guys from 12 and 13. Household names, your Jacques Guillots and Montelongos and Isaiahs and all those guys. But they have questions. And anybody else at the scrimmage, like I mentioned in the opening, the scrimmage against Mercedes.
It was a tough month.
It was rough. It was tough sledding for them just because Mercedes is going to move the football.
Yeah.
But they're young defensively. And they're young. And they had some turnovers and things like that. But
Big Mock, how do you look at quarterback?
well, he's going to
be good.
He's going to be a tight end, actually.
Okay.
And that's the conundrum they're in. Yeah. The Tarpons are looking for a steady quarterback.
Okay. What about Omar Silva? Can he play quarterback? He's a good athlete.
He is a good athlete.
You know?
Yeah, you don't know. You know, that's just the thing.
My suggestion.
They have questions there at quarterback.
Right.
But Mock's a great athlete. You know, he's a big kid, smart.
Got a couple
On
good
the field,
offensive
yeah.
linemen too, right?
Yeah.
So
So they can move the ball,
Yeah.
but who's going to set the table, if you will? That's the question in Port Isabel. And then the youth, just making tackles, not fumbling the football. You know, last year they had a guy, Alex Los Santos.
I remember.
Had a good
Exploded
year.
early. And
He's
kinda,
exploded. His early game was against Valley View.
Right.
Like him coming out party there.
Went long all the time.
Yeah, so they're going to look for things for him. And
He's
then-
a good sized
and
back.
some other guys, yeah, around.
He has the makings of a real good back. I've always thought that about him. He kind of tailed off at the end, but JJ was so good that he needed the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He had to.
Yeah.
He had to.
Well, Rio Hondo's another team that, you know, coming into the season, I thought that the Bobcats had what it would take to be a top 10 team, whatever the class. They've had a few hiccups, haven't they, along the way? They've got some injuries.
They've had a couple of detours. You know, first of all, they lose Alan Alfaro, who's going to be the featured back.
Yeah.
And he was crushed about it. And you know, but you know, to his credit, he stood up before the team and said, "Hey guys, I'm out.
Adelante.
So y'all need to do it." And they got a sophomore kid that might fill that role.
Yeah.
Quarterback is another question right now. I'm not saying they don't have anybody. You know, Josh Gonzalez filled that last year.
16, I liked him, fast.
You know, in the scrimmages, they had Daniel Flores in there, the middle linebacker,
that's
a tackling machine.
He is. He's been playing for about 9 seasons.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, and he was at the younger stages, he was a
So he's played quarterback before.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right.
you know, you might see a rotation.
I bet he can put his head down and run you over.
He might. Yeah. So you know, there's questions at quarterback. You know, then you lose your linebacker, Ethan James.
Wow, man, no
So,
coach is sad.
you know,
over that.
Yeah, so it's going to be Daniel Flores. I mean, that was the strength of their defense. And you know, Rocky James is always going to have that defense tipped
Love
up.
some linebackers.
Last year they were #1 defense in the Valley.
That's right,
statistically.
man. Yeah. Magallanes.
Yeah, all staters. But can you know? In my opinion, I think they'll have the defense ready to go.
Okay.
By the time district rolls.
Tell me about Andy Lasky. He's supposed to be good, isn't he?
He
Junior.
is junior.
They say he's going to be another one of those great linebackers.
He is. Yeah, he's just an athlete. They turn him out in Rio Hondo. They turn out football players.
They've had good players since the days of the Kotstick brothers. Okay, so they're a little challenged right off the bat.
Now, Raymondville too.
Raymondville lost their quarterback.
They lost him to a collarbone, I believe.
A lot of collarbones. What the
But
world?
they do have another Rubalcaba in the pipeline.
They do.
Adrian Rubalcaba, his younger
Okay.
brother. He's about 6'1", 250, I guess. Good size
Okay.
kid. So
Nice.
he's at the right tackle, I believe. They're young. They're thin on the lines.
And another kid, who's it, Soria? Angel?
Soria,
Pretty good
yeah.
size. So I wonder if he's kin to them Sorias that have been there for years.
I'm sure
Decade
they have.
basketball players.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
So Raymondville might be a year away. But you know, we said that a couple of years, and then it came up with Chris Trevino and these other guys that hadn't played, and they were amazing. So I mean, you can't automatically say because they had, and we're not saying that, because they had injuries, maybe these new kids will step up. But it's certainly not the way you want to start the season going, okay, it's not Pettis, it's...
Yeah,
with
you talked
Yates,
about
I
that.
think.
You talked about that with Edinburgh North earlier. And I talked about it with Rio Hondo, and it's just, man, it just seems like these kids are just going down in the scrimmages, and it's like, wow. I mean,
What we're supposed to do, not hit? No.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think, we hope we get lucky, because kids get hurt.
They do.
That's why you need quality depth, right?
Exactly.
And it's harder at 3A and 4A.
It is.
Where are you going to get the depth from? What, the baseball team?
Exactly.
Okay, so who else? Let's see. So, you know, one of the teams I've been hearing a lot about, and you are high on them as well, Lafayette is not going to be Lions are pretty
quarterback.
tough. Man, he's a horse, man.
Isaac
I always wanted to call him Gilpin, but it's Galpin.
Galpin.
He looks like, what was the other kid they used to have? Remember?
Oh, man.
Remember?
Got me on that one. I know, I remember,
Tequila.
I keep saying Cuervo, but it wasn't.
Cuervo, that's his name.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
a huge guy, and a
Yeah.
great quarterback. I think Galpin's is good.
Yeah, he is, and the success they had on 7-on-7, we talked about that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing that at the lower levels now, where these smaller schools are playing 7-on-7
right.
and saying, getting that cohesiveness
Yeah.
on offense, and then when you got a quarterback there who can sling it.
They had
you
great
know,
receivers last year. A lot of them graduated. Their junior crop is supposedly really fast. Not very big, but really
Yeah,
fast.
I want to say Bettis is back.
Yeah, one,
He
out of the three.
Caught a couple of maybe 5-6 touchdowns last year,
Right.
so they're going to be offense driven, but
Yeah.
the buzz around them is that their defense is better.
Randy can too, is the guy.
Defense
that's
is
been
better.
around, right? So they used to have great defenses back in the day.
They did.
And so maybe if they can get a good defense back with the attack they have, they're going to make it.
Right, and it's not just Galpin. I believe it's Russ Gonzalez.
Yeah, Rose Bell. Yeah, he had
Strong
some good ball
kid,
games last
strong
year.
kid.
Yeah.
Look for big things from him.
Okay, what about a team like Gruya? Man, they were great a couple of years ago. And last year they had a tough muster. They ended up by some ironic quirk in the playoffs, but we know and Abel knows that that's not as good as he wants his team to be. That's not as good as they want to
They
be.
were just
Yeah.
set by injuries.
Oh, God, talk about the injury bug from the beginning.
Awful.
Now, with Fabian back, I want to see this Omar Martinez, man. He's supposed to be a real receiver.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
I think they've got to be better. Will they be competitive? That district's going to be open, don't you think?
Yeah,
The
you
big-
know,
the Division I.
You know, you talk to our Coastal Bend guys and like, hey, well, Kingsville's gonna be pretty good, and they will be.
Yeah.
They'll be there, but I think La Feria can contend for the championship there.
Why do they
Year
pick
1, 2.
Zapata second? I love Zapata, but I hate Zapata because they always seem to be in the way. You know what I mean? Of our
Yeah.
team.
They're always going to have a 1,500-yard rusher.
Absolutely, right. Some little
Coach
dude.
Arce over there, he sticks to the slot T, and
Yeah.
they got big boys out there.
You know, they're doing big deer too.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't suit
Good
them
fish
up.
too in the lake if you want to go out there.
This is true. So who else is there? What about Hidalgo, man?
Yeah.
Hidalgo, you know, in the 80s and 90s, they were playoff teams, man. They had some
Yeah.
good kids. They got the baseball and the basketball are good. What's it going to take? You got a new coach. It's just seemed to be kind of a trouble spot the last couple of
It
years.
has,
You know.
it goes back to it's continuity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you go back. I mean, you had the Ty Jones,
Yeah.
which really wasn't a lot, I guess, to talk about there.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you got Scott Ford there with Shea Patterson. That
I
was
thought
a nice
that was
little
going to be a big
flash.
deal. Did you see this guy in the USA Today? Shea Patterson came out like an All-American team, but not for us. And I'm like, God dang it. You know?
Then before him,
Come on.
then you had the Robin Cook situation,
Yeah.
or Kirk, I'm sorry.
Kirk, yeah.
Situation there.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of been that instability there in Hidalgo, but
They got players.
yeah, they do. And I talked about it recently that I like David Duty. You know, and a lot of people will. They're going to warm up to him if they haven't already.
He's ridden the Rapids. He knows how to do it. And he's a good man. So
Work under some good coaches.
Yeah.
He's sharp. He's got high energy, motivator.
and they've
That's
got
what they needed.
facilities. They've got some kids. I like Peter Kiddo. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah.
And then you, man, that guy's a good receiver. He'll get deep
Yeah.
on you and he'll be gone.
Yeah,
Nah.
exactly. So I mean, I look for them to make a good jump on just under David Duty, just because we talked about it earlier, attitude.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
hey, you guys are going to be better. We're going to make you better. We're going to do it together. And believe it or not, I mean, we forget these are 16, 17-year-old kids.
I know, yeah, we're
Sometimes
like,
you
yeah,
gotta-
the Patriots
You got to
and
tell them,
that,
hey,
yeah.
you can run through that wall, and they'll do it for you.
Yeah. Or not. And
Right.
if they don't believe
If you
they
tell them
can,
they
they
can't.
won't. Right,
Exactly.
exactly. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Sure.
Okay, now Lyford and Santa Rosa. By the way, I didn't want to get through this segment without saying this is going to be a better year in the playoffs for us. Last year in the 4As and the 3As, man, those teams we played were tough. From Hallettsville to Sinton and went to the Final Five. You know, those were just, those were real good teams. We didn't have a damn good team.
I don't think that'll happen this time around. Lyford, Lyford's always been one of my favorite teams to cover. Jaime Infante is one
Oh,
of my
he's
favorite
a
coaches.
class act, man.
And he's got a good quarterback, Mr. Rivera.
He
So
does, and he can sling it.
He
man.
can. And Lyford's going to be, you know they're going to move the football. You know they're going to they're going to be undersized.
Right.
They usually are.
I feel like along with that movability they have, there's a couple of kids. There's a Mendes on the defensive line and Benji Vela. They're not huge guys, but if they can have a little more physicality, then I think they can compete with Ramsey's Pass and San Diego and this.
Yeah,
But,
no, I think so too. And
those
like I
teams
said,
aren't that great.
Because you know they're going to be well coached.
Yeah.
On both sides of the football, and that's what Lyford's had. They have a solid program there.
Yeah.
It's just getting the athletes and getting them and having them to stay healthy. Really.
And Santa Rosa is that team again, like PSJ Memorial. When you count them out, they go to the playoffs. You
Yeah.
think they're going to be pretty good. Maybe they struggle a little bit. I know they got a kid, Lotto's been around, the quarterback.
Leo Lara.
Yeah, he's not bad at all.
Basketball player. too.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's can. There were a bunch
He
of
is.
Lottos at Santa Rosa.
Bunch of
Renee,
Laras.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Usually when these small schools, they're gonna be, okay, he's ready, so-and-so, so-and-so.
That's why I love Mundo, man, because we're the small school guys, and we talk about this stuff, and things come out just like that.
They
Yeah,
do.
man.
Yeah, so we could make this a 4-hour show if we wanted.
I know, yeah. Now, speaking of
Yeah.
Monte Alto,
Right?
why not the Blue Devils? Because that is a good area